Joining us now to discuss the life, the death, and the aftermath of Robin Williams, the right man on the left coast, our friend James Hirsen, and also checking in for his perspective as someone who grew up in Hollywood, Peter Ford, the son of Glenn Ford, the author of Glenn Ford, A Life. To you both, we welcome you to America's Forum. And James, let me proffer the first question to you. Looking at all that has gone on now with the revelation of Parkinson's disease, do you think this gives us further insight into Robin Williams' state of mind?
I think it does. I think it's a factor, and it gives comfort to me and to others who see this as consistent with the generous nature of Robin Williams. And that is, it could be that, you know, he has these three beautiful children, and at least in his mind, suffering from depression, having the side effect of exaggerated depression from using recreational drugs, that he felt that he didn't want to be a burden to his family. And that is a distorted view, but at least it's consistent with the Robin Williams that Hollywood knows, the Robin Williams I've met. And it gives some explanation, you know, as to why he would be this man who had pure respect, awards, success, wealth, fame, and a wonderful family would find himself in that dark place where he was going to end his life. At least it gives us some explanation that we can hang on to.
Peter Ford, to you, we want to thank you for your time and your willingness to get personal with us. You wrote a story, wrote the book about your dad, Glenn Ford. I would imagine it's tough enough to grow up in Hollywood, but I believe in your book you detail that your dad faced some challenges in terms of mental illness. Looking back on your childhood, the things you learned, the things you remembered, are there parallels between your growing up and perhaps what Robin Williams' kids are experiencing right now?
Well, you know, JD, I don't know if there's a parallel necessarily, but, you know, when you're in the spotlight, as my father was, and of course Robin and Mike Reagan's dad being president as well, I mean, there's a lot of pressure and a lot of stress on you. And my dad didn't have any mental illness necessarily, but he was kind of a dark guy in many ways, and you know, it's hard for a lot of these people to reveal their true selves. It's been my experience, JD, that with people like Robin, who I did not know, but some of the funniest of us, some of the most entertaining, are really, they sometimes have some tragic past, and they come to their ability to entertain us and enthrall us with a past that has led them to kind of not necessarily cloak their tragedy and their past, but to you know, I think I was thinking the other day of Jonathan Winters, who passed, and he was kind of a earlier Robin Williams, and Jonathan had a few issues in his life, and I just been my experience that sometimes when you look at a funny person, somebody who's really, you know, over the top like Robin was, I think there could be some dark things lurking within them, and certainly having Parkinson's and all of the different things that now we're learning about. I'm sure that exacerbated his feeling of not being able to be the person that he had become.
Well,
so, but you know, it's interesting. I don't know. Today's Hollywood, though, is a very, very different Hollywood than the Hollywood that I grew up in, that's for sure.
And Peter, not only is it a different Hollywood, but James, it's a different world. It's a wired world. We have social media. And following Robin's death, his daughter, Zelda Williams, who posted such a beautiful tweet about her father, she was bullied off both Instagram and Twitter, people posting horrific comments, photoshopping pictures of her father. This situation and the brutality, the anonymous brutality of the web, this is really the dark underbelly of the internet.
Yeah, definitely it is. I guess that's the cost of the internet being so free. But you know, what Peter mentions, that pressure of fame, as you point out, that is exaggerated and exacerbated by the 24-hour news cycle, by the advent of cable news, by the internet and by social media, because things are instantaneous, and both truths and falsehoods and both good things and evil things can be spread so quickly, like lightning, across the internet. And that particular instance, with Robin Williams' daughter Zelda, is an absolute disgusting episode where a relatively small group of idiots managed to basically make this person who's in mourning freshly after the death of her father, with this close relationship with her father, make her suffer on the social media. That it's unforgivable, and I just think that's. But we can't all regulate that, of course, but except through education and through awareness and through maybe more parental supervision of the internet.
The last minute 30 I'd like to give to Peter Ford, because you mentioned your relationship with your father. You said your dad, in a lot of ways, had some dark places. If you could, in the minute 15 that remains, Peter, give us a takeaway. Was there one instance, was there something that happened with your dad that reflected both the pressures he felt and the pressures you felt as a Hollywood kid?
Well, I think I can't think of any one incident. I can tell you though that my father wasn't there for me the way. Actually, I'm good friends with Michael Reagan. I just saw Mike on with you a while ago. I knew Mike when he had hair, by the way, J.D.
We'll get you both back together.
Jeez, I'm sorry to hear about that. But no, but I think Mike and I both came from the same place in that way. That your fathers aren't home for you. You don't really have a dad, and you have to find your own way in life. I never did have a birds and the bee talk with my dad. I had to find out by doing. But real quickly though, regarding the media, back in the day, Howard Strickland used to work for MGM. He was what they call the fixer, I think.
Oh, that's right. You had the publicists and the guys that would do the ideal situation.
Fathers. I mean, Eddie Mannix, who was VP of MGM. I mean, Howard
they would
used
step
to pick
in.
me.
I got you. Unfortunately, only 10 seconds remains, Peter. We're going to have you back with Mike Reagan. James Hirsen, we always thank you for your time. America's Forum continues.